Right. Welcome to the show. It looks like we are live. Do me a favor as you come on in, share this video, invite some friends, and we're about to have an important conversation. The financial revolution. This is a really important conversation, and definitely looking forward to seeing how much information we can extract from these two vessels of wisdom, Ron and Regina. But before we do that, this show is brought to you in part by the Heart Work book, 31 Days to Mastering Your Relationship. You can get your copy at www.theconditionsoflove.com. This is a book that my wife and I wrote together. We put our 31 years of marital information, wisdom, harmony, whatever you want to call it, into this book for your relationship improvement. So enough about that. Let's see. Let me introduce myself. I'm Coach Vaughn, the Love Alchemist. I'm a men's health and wellness coach. I'm also a marriage and relationship coach. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I love to do and enjoy uplifting couples and enhancing relationships. I've been doing this for 20 years now, all around the world. I think it's a little over 20 years now, actually. But anyway, this is what we do here. And each week here on the Living Proof Show, the Love Alchemist presents the Living Proof Show. What I like to do is bring you guys guests every week that for the purpose of enriching your lives as well as my own, because just like I have couples here, I'm learning. I mean, just like I have guests here every week, I'm learning every week too. So do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that like button, and share this video. Hit that like button, share this video, invite some friends, and we're about to get it cracking. Today we have on the show Mr. Ron and Regina, and they are financial experts. Let me see. Let me bring up the bio real quick. It's really kind of a special surprise this week. So let me jump into it. Ron and Regina are Revolution. They are the founders, CEO and founders of Revolution Financial Management. They work with the offices and affiliates across the country, and their organization has helped secure stability for thousands of families and has eliminated millions of dollars in debt. They help people manage and save money, eliminate debt, get better returns on their money, and pay little to no taxes on long-term investments, and feel secure with the peace of mind during unforeseen circumstances. Everybody needs that, right? Yes, indeed. So I know y'all heard enough of my voice. You know who I am. You know what I sound like. What you don't know is who we are bringing to the show. So without further ado, welcome Ron and Regina to the show. How you doing, family?
Fantastic. How you doing?
Great.
Right. I'm good. Man, it's so good to see y'all.
Good to be seen.
Indeed.
Yes. Better seen than viewed, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, y'all, family, again, do me a favor as you come on in, hit that like button, share this video. We have Mr. Ellis out of, let's see, what is that? Tuning in from the other ATR show. Okay, cool. So for those of you who don't know, Ron and Regina, well, let's start with Ron. Me and Ron are cut from the same cloth, birthed from the same source, my big cousin. So it's an honor to introduce one of the elders in my family, be interviewing one of the elders in my family, elder statesman in the family. And then this is his lovely wife, Regina. And like I said, I'm just honored to have them on the show. Ron and Regina, do me a favor and introduce yourselves and tell the guests a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, quick for me, as you said, I am your cousin, your older cousin from Chicago, Illinois. We came out here. Actually, we live out here in the LA area, Los Angeles, California. And as you all know, I enlisted in the Marine Corps back in 1984, which is, gosh, seems so long ago. Joined the Marine Corps. Well, first, we came from a great family. Mother and grandfather, man. And then, of course, my mother, Teresa, your mother, Cheryl, the baby of the group. Mom was a teacher. My father was a printing pressman. We always wanted to do more. I again joined the military at age 17, served for over 14 years, a little bit of 10 years in as far as law enforcement as well. And then I found a great way of life, finances. No one teaches this stuff, but as you well know, things that go on in families, you learn really quick on how to operate. So, and then of course I let my wife introduce herself. I met her a few years ago, and she decided to make me her husband, and she it's that rib, that's the rib. So appreciate her, so she can tell you.
Go ahead. Well, my name's Regina Rose Johnson, and let's see a little bit about me, my background, my family. So I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, and came here years ago to California. So it was actually the Air Force that brought me here. So, but I spent about 25 years in flight test engineering and IT out there. So managing, multi-billion-dollar aircraft programs. So, and I just really loved the world of flight test. My parents were ministers, right? So, I probably led a sheltered life. So this was all new to me coming to California. But nonetheless, what I did learn was what I didn't know. And you know what? Sometimes we just don't know what we don't know. But in that, I transitioned from one male-dominated career field, right, in engineering, to another male-dominated career field, which is finance. Because when you think of a financial professional or advisor or what have you, it might not be my face that you see, right? You might think of someone else traditionally in that career field. So, but I love what we do. I love working with this guy because he is amazing. I'm just saying, right? I might be a little biased, but that's okay. And for what we do, out there serving the community and serving families. So, and that's kind of it in a nutshell. So, yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah. I can dig it. Listen, back in the day, we used to hear that the revolution would not be televised.
Right.
The revolution will not be televised, but what you guys are doing is a financial revolution, and lo and behold, it is being televised. Why? What tell me a little bit about what you mean when you say financial revolution.
Well, I tell you, part of you kind of covered it in your introduction. There's basically 5 things that we look at when we sit down with families. The first thing is that if they're in debt, we want to help them get out of debt, right? And once you get out of debt, start doing some short-term savings. It's not an emergency when you got some savings, right? Then, of course, that goes into your long-term savings aspect. Make sure you get better rates of return on your money, especially on long-term investments. And make sure you're properly protected, which is, I'm very passionate about the insurance aspect of what we do, being protected. I've been a beneficiary, and I've given beneficiary checks, so I definitely know about that. And then, of course, wills and trust in place, getting those. When you want to make your money, you want to keep it and you want to save it. The one thing that the pandemic has made happen is that the trust attorneys are very busy. Probate, that's a nasty word, probate. When you pass and you don't have your assets protected, you can't call a probate attorney right now because there's so many people without those different coverages. And the main thing is that it's the people that look like us that are going through this process.
Yeah. You know, I got my pencil here and my pad, because I know you're going to be using some words that I'm not, necessarily as familiar with, and maybe shares a similar sentiment. So do me a favor and tell me, what does probate mean?
Probate, just to give you the in layman's terms, is when you have, say, a property, right? You own a home, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
A lot of people own homes, but you need to have your home inside of a trust. And a trust is a legal document that's going to pretty much, it tells who gets that property when you pass. Okay, because again, I always tell people, unless you have a fountain of youth in this water, we're all going to go that way, right? But we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to think about it. But if you don't have your items in order, or your business in order, you might have it'll be left up to someone else. The same thing with having advance directives, which is same thing. If you don't have your what do you want to be done medically inside of on document, like, you remember before you went overseas, you had to do a trust, right? I mean, you had to do a will, right? When you're in the military, they make you go do a will, right?
Yeah.
In case you pass
power
away.
of attorney.
Exactly, power of attorney. Same thing. You don't have it's pretty much a medical power of attorney where if I can't make the decision for myself, my wife can make those decisions. Or in the event of a single person, someone else can make those decisions for them. Again, COVID has taught us way more than what we needed to, because when do we think about this stuff? Welcome to the pandemic.
Right. Go ahead, Regina. Did you have something to add to that, or?
Actually, he covered it. So when something happens, right, that's when people think about it. But what we want to do is instill and have those types of conversations where it's not at the 12th hour that someone's trying to determine what they need to do. We say, don't let the courts decide, you decide, right? And take control. And that starts with having that conversation. Yeah,
absolutely. Man, I have so many things that I wanted to ask you guys, because it's just so much that I would like to know, and I think a lot that I would like to even share with the family. So here's one question. When should people, you kind of jumped ahead of me a little bit, but that's good. Since you went into trust, let's go there first. What is a trustee?
Trustee.
And should is that something that we should have? Is that something we should concern ourselves with? What is the trustee?
Yeah, that's going to be all part of your trust package. Matter of fact, okay, let me give you my disclaimer. I'm not an attorney, but I work with the best attorneys in the country. So what we do is that we refer to, we have a company that we refer to, and what a trustee is that person that's going to say what's going to happen with that property, or with those things that you have left, whether it's jewelry, property, homes, cars, which is the same thing as property, with your money, right? You want to.
That's all right.
Okay, so that's what that is. So, but again, we have some great attorneys that we work with, and those are things that they go over. They do actually a no-cost consultation with folks to see what way is the best way for them. And again, depending on that the estate that they have, it'd be priced accordingly. So that's really, and it's affordable. It's affordable. People think those things are not affordable, but I tell you, it's cost versus price. Small price now for a big. I'm going through that right now with one of my clients. His parents passed without a trust, and he's going through the probate process. It's going to cost him about 20 grand just because of the family didn't do a $2,500 trust.
Wow. Okay. That's a big deal.
Huge
okay.
deal. Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Okay, let me slow it down a little bit, because this is getting a little deep for me, a little bit too fast. So I'm a little slower thinker than what you offer me. So let me bring it back just a little bit, and I want to talk about this idea of cash flow. Explain to me a little bit about cash flow, and just kind of what does that mean?
Well, I'll let my wife, because she has a great saying that you might have heard, but go ahead.
So cash flow. So I typically start with this. It doesn't matter how much money you make. What matters more is what you keep, right? So the cash flow is the income that you have coming in. What's flowing into your household, right? So that is, and there are different forms of cash flow. That could be income from your employment, right? From your job, or from maybe whatever business that you might do, right? So that can be from some type of retirement. It could be Social Security. That's income coming into your household. So cash flow would be anything that's coming into your household. Money.
Okay. I remember hearing the saying that's similar to what you just said. It ain't what you cop, it's what you keep, right?
Cop.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay, so here's another term that kind of piqued my interest when I was looking at over your information. Explain to me a little bit about debt management. And well, first of all, management of expenses, and then roll that right into debt management.
Okay. Well, first thing, most people don't have a written, I say that again, written budget. That is so key, where you know what you have coming in, and then you know what you have going out. But also, what a lot of folks have is that credit card demon, right? You know, we don't have emergency funds, and that goes into what we talked about before, where you have short-term savings. You know, the credit card becomes our short-term savings, and then or a replacement for our short-term savings, and we end up going into debt. Okay, and then you hear about these people that have, they get these loan consolidation or these credit card consolidation loans, and they end up redoing the same thing that they did before, where they get, in a bad spot as far as their credit. So not spending money without having a real reason. It's good to have wants, but do you really need it? I want a new car, but do I really need it? Our cars, I used to be in a situation where I would get a new car every 3 to 4 years, but now our cars are, 10, 12 years old, because you figure out that your retirement is not laid up into a depreciating asset, which is a car. They say that, you drive out the lot, it drops X amount of dollars. That is so true. So put your money into things that appreciate and not depreciate, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I can add to that. Debts are, when you really think about it, that thing that you have to pay for that you don't own, right? So that could be a mortgage, that could be, student loans. That's debt, right? So anything that you have to continue to pay on is debt. And sometimes they say, you may have heard of good debt versus bad debt, right? Where credit cards are what? Bad debt. If you're paying 28, 29% interest on those cards, right? So, yeah. Versus
I'm sorry. My apologies. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I think
that was it.
Yeah.
So give me an example of good debt. What is good debt?
Some may say that home ownership is good debt, right? Because that's something that should be appreciating, right?
Okay. I can dig it.
Mm-hmm.
So as we talk about this, Ron, you mentioned before something about an emergency fund. Go into that a little bit for me. Either one of you. I don't really care which one of y'all.
Well, again, I'm going to revert to talk about the pandemic a lot, right? Because that really gave us a indication of where people are. Actually, being out here in California and us being close to a military base, you see this every year almost, where you have a situation where the government's not being funded, or have the position of, or maybe not being funded, and you have a government employees that have great jobs, and they might miss a paycheck, right? Again, the pandemic did the same thing, where before the loans came into place and the government started paying, giving folks money, folks didn't have the money. I saw some food lines out here in where we live that were, miles long, because most people are, one paycheck away from being homeless anyway, or being in a bad situation, because we don't save money. We save a negative 4% in this country. This was pre-pandemic because of credit cards, for one, debt, and we don't save money to get anything. You know, you travel, you know, being, you know, yourself a retired naval person, you went all over, you've been all over the world. This is one of the only countries I know that you can go and buy something on quote unquote credit, where you don't have the money, you pay for it later. And we're used to that. And we're in a position now where we're just spending, you know, we're buying things without having the financial means to back that up. And we saw that again with people losing their jobs. You know, it's just still in this position, right? We're still in a position right now where people don't make enough money, but they had this lifestyle that's up here, and the money is down here, so to speak. So hope that answered the question.
You used to have to stop. Yeah, you used to have to stop at zero, but now they'll let you whistle right on by zero, right?
Right. Yep.
They'll bury you. So Regina, give me an idea of how much of an emergency fund we should have. How much should we have, you know, just to kind of as a good cushion or a healthy cushion for those emergencies that Ron is talking about?
So for our clients, we typically start with 3 to 6 months of your expenses, right, where that is set aside. So if anything was to happen, where many of our clients during like the pandemic, they were secure, right, because they have been saving for that type of situation, an emergency fund. So if that income isn't coming in or something happens, you have that cushion. So what we say is start at 3 to 6 months. And, you know, based on whatever situation that you're in, for me, I go 2-3 years, right? Because I want to be comfortable knowing that myself, our families are okay. So it depends, but that's a great starting point, 3 to 6 months, right, of your expenses that are set aside. So in case anything was to happen, you have some sense of, you have peace of mind.
Yeah. Do you have any suggestions for strategies on how to accumulate 3 to 6 months worth of expenses? Because most people are living paycheck to paycheck, or as Ron just said, you know, we're one paycheck away from facing some serious adversity or catastrophe. Any type of strategies that people can deploy for accumulating that 3 to 6 months worth of expenses?
Sure. For what I suggest is this, and you know, everybody's situation is a little bit different. You know, that's why we sit down, have a conversation to see where do you have discretionary income? You know, are you paying $300 on a cable bill, right? What are some of those things that you can cut, right, to be able to save more? Are you spending that $5 on that Starbucks every day? Right? It really adds up over a 30-day period. So what one would want to do is just take a look at wherever you are. And our primary goal is to meet people where they are, right? And then in some instances, you just have to earn more income. And we talk about those things too, right? And give them options to be able to do that as well.
Excellent. Excellent. So you had another idea on here where you were talking about proper protection. Talk to me a little bit about proper protection. What does that mean? And then just kind of delve into how to establish that for ourselves.
Okay, well, that's going to be on the life insurance aspect of it. You know, I'm a great proponent of having life insurance. Just to give you my quick 20-second story from people that might not know, but you know, my father came from a family of 13. And half of them died in accidents, including my father was killed in a car accident in 99. And then actually had the opportunity to bury my oldest son about 11 years ago that was killed. And one thing that my father had, and my son had it as well, that we had life insurance. So there was no GoFundMe. There was no car wash, bake sales, you know, chicken dinners, any of that stuff. What we did, we had the life insurance that we had, and we utilized that to take care of the situation. So the rule of thumb that we talk about is you need to have 10 times your income plus any debts that you have. So if you make $50,000, you need to have $500,000. Okay, you have a $100,000 home, you need to have, you know, at least, you know, 100,000 plus your other bills again, and enough money for that surviving spouse if you're married to go on for about 10 years. Okay, so replacing your income for 10 years, paying off all your debts. That's about how much insurance you should have. Now, that being said, a lot of people can't afford that, especially when you get, to be a graybeard, because insurance does cost a little bit more money when you get older. But what you can do is just start small, and then you start to build that up so that when that day does come, that your family will be taken care of.
The other part of that is, what if you don't pass, you don't die? Because insurance has changed over the years. And what about if that, people suffer from chronic illness, critical illness, and then sometimes terminal illness, right? Insurance has changed where an individual can utilize those proceeds, right, to maybe get some special treatment or to go on taking care of their family, not to mention long-term care.
Long-term care is so key. And again, the pandemic has shown the great need for people to have long-term care. Because wouldn't you have loved to have your loved one at home with you instead of having them in one of those places that, was a COVID factory and everyone passed away because of COVID, and that's one thing you have to we want to be able to take care of our loved ones at home in a great environment that we know that they're not being taken advantage of and just taken care of. Okay. So that's really the long-term care aspect is something that, that you have with insurance, the proper protection that many people don't have. And the numbers of people that will need it, I think is almost like 78% of people will need some type of long-term care at some time. And again, it doesn't matter whether you're, it can be an accident. It can be, you're just getting more mature in age or, some type of illness so where you need someone else to come in and take care of you. And that's what here in California, it could be anywhere between 10 and 15 grand just for, just for facilities. So it can be very expensive.
And you don't have to be old. I mean,
you don't have to be old to use it. No, not at all.
It's from 35 years old, on up. So it just depends. But be prepared for it, right? So we talk about those things, right?
We have a question in the comments section. But before I get to the question, family, do me a favor. If you haven't already, hit that love button, or maybe like if you only like us and you don't love us. Either way, hit that button and share this video and invite somebody, because what we're sharing here is some life-changing information, life beneficial information. But we're going to back up just a little bit. You guys, one of you mentioned discretionary funds. I think that was you, Regina. Can you expound a little bit on can you define discretionary funds?
I define discretionary as want to instead of need to. There's some things that you need, and then there's those things that are discretionary, right? Meaning you don't really need them. They're extras.
Matter of fact, I see that brother Brandon is the one that asked that question. It's like, I don't need 5 pies, only need 1. That's my brother Chef Brandon. And that brother makes the greatest bean pies in the world.
Oh my gosh. So, we have a story about that. We have to tell you.
You guys have some strategies in your business, and one of the strategies that you go into is building wealth. Can you talk to me a little bit about some of your wealth building strategies and how we might be able to adopt those and into our own lives?
Well, I tell you, there's different ways of building wealth. One of them can be in some type of product that we might have, whether it's an annuity, whether it's a mutual fund, things of that nature, or something of an insurance product. But we also, real estate. I've been a real estate broker for over 20 years. So, they say the biggest wealth is earned in real estate, and the way it's going right now, it's definitely you can definitely build wealth in that aspect, but definitely sustainable. We have some products that we have that we can show you to where you put in X amount of dollars now, and then over a period of time, we can show you where that money will grow. And even though we don't guarantee anything, but we can show you where it has a great possibility of being very, very lucrative for you in the future. The biggest thing, though, I tell you, Vaughn, is to start now. I wish we would have had some of these concepts when we were younger, instead of when I was in the Marine Corps back in the day with with my $300 car payment, which should have been about $100, but I wanted to be styling and profiling. But if I would have learned some
I
of those
remember
things,
that
in my red Camaro, yep.
Yeah.
So,
And even before that, the Toyota Corolla. Wasn't it a Toyota Corolla?
oh, see,
And
I mean,
you had Ron's toy across the
oh my gosh.
windshield.
Boy, you just went back.
didn't know
Yeah,
that
that was whatever. I mean, that was a $200 payment, but still, I should have kept that Toyota instead of buying that doggone Camaro. That's what I should have had. I should have did that. But again, you live and learn. Things are not. I mean, things are caught. You have to catch these things. Sometimes you don't. You don't. Even though our parents tell us stuff all the time, right? But sometimes our head is kind of hard. Maybe what I've heard anyway. So you learn by experience for sure.
And some of those wealth strategies, and some parents don't know what to say, what to teach, because they themselves didn't have the information, right? So that's why we say when you are aware of something, once you learn, you are morally obligated to share that information with other people. And so those wealth building strategies are different for different people because it depends on where they are. Right. And so when I said earlier, we just meet people where they are to help them reach the goals that they want to achieve. But that starts with a conversation. Right. And so we do that because we want individuals to feel comfortable and confident. Right. And there is power in that confidence. Right. So that you can be able to get from where you are now, have someone in your corner to help you bridge the gap, to where you want to be. And so that's what we do. And that's why we're here. And so we actually work with hundreds of companies to find the right product for that particular individual. Right. So we're not pigeonholed into one particular project. So that's what makes what we do so powerful.
Excellent. So now, in keeping with that theme of building wealth, there are a lot of people who we save money, right? Now, grandma used to keep the money in the house, and there are a lot of elders who used to keep it in the mattress or under the mattress.
Right.
But some of us got sophisticated and we keep it in the bank in the savings account. Ooh. What do you think about? Right, I say sophisticated. So, what do you suggest? Where should we store this money? Is the bank a banking account or a savings account? Is that a good place, or what do you recommend if not that? Where do we keep this money?
Well, again, here's the thing, and people don't check and see what they're actually getting from their bank or their credit union. Credit unions are typically a little bit better. They have a little bit better on the fee structure, and so I do my banking, quote unquote, through the credit union. But what you see is that there's other things you can put your money. Like I said before, mutual funds. It might be money under management. We have companies that we deal with where, you have, $2,000, they can put it into a professional money manager that can take care of that money for you and let it grow. The biggest thing with helping having your money grow is you have to be patient. And many of us are not patient. We want that microwave blessing. You want to stick it in there to the account and, blink 3 times, turn around, and you want it to grow. That's not going to happen. Okay. Of course, like my wife said before, it depends on that particular person and their time horizon, which is how long before they actually want to retire or want to live that life of leisure. Again, I talk about retirement. To me, retirement is not an age. It's about having enough funds to do what you want to do to the level of what you want to do it. Okay. So it's all about lifestyle. Exactly. It's lifestyle. So depending if you want to eat beans and franks, that's fantastic. But if you want to do a little bit of something else, a little something extra, you want to take a trip to California and go see your cousin and hang out, or we take a trip to Georgia to see our cousins, you can do that and not think about what the costs are. Mm-hmm. So that makes sense. Again, we have so many different products and services that we can, utilize to build folks' money. It really depends on that person, their level of risk tolerance. Because some of these things, of course, we don't want our clients to lose any money. But if you want to be a little bit more aggressive, you might be, like, for instance, the stock market, for instance. You see the stock market what's going on right now. I think Friday they had the largest drop, right? It was. But in the same token, though, if you want to be safe, safe and steady wins the race. You know, I will actually have a great example with my mother. She's actually to live a life. She has a lifestyle that some people might envy because she's been retired for 15 years. She doesn't have to go to work. She can work if she wants to. House paid for, cars paid for. She can come out to California and get out that cold in Chicago, but she likes it, I guess.
Yes.
You know, Mom, she loves that. She loves that, you know. But it really depends on that client. And I tell you, it's, you know, I love the different products and services that we have because, you know, I always say we have the best of the best is because we have everybody's products. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, I don't want to say the Walmart of financial services because they don't treat the people that good. But what can you get at Walmart? Everything.
Amazon.
I don't want to talk about Amazon either. But anyway, we got it all. If you want it and we got it. You just got to figure out what fits good for you.
And you know, something that you mentioned too, Vaughn, was the interest rate, right? And the interest that our banks pay, right? Some of the learning, some of the things that we want individuals to learn and understand is, you need to put some money in the bank because that's liquid. You need to have access to it, correct? And then I personally love the index products that we have. I love those because something happened to me in 2008 that's probably not too far that other people can relate to, right? What happened? The market crashed, right? So, and when that market crashed, I lost over, I lost 42% of my portfolio at the time. And so what that meant to me was about $272,000. So that might not be a lot to some people, but it was a lot to me at the time. Understand? But imagine, right? If I was 67 years old, getting ready to retire, what that would have done, you know, to my retirement, gone. But see, there are other things out there that exist where I didn't have to lose anything at all, but I was not aware of those things, right? So, but once I found out, I was on a mission to make sure that everybody knew. And that's one of the reasons that I started here, you know, in addition to, you know, life experiences, right? So from a woman's perspective, because things happen to us. And so when you want your, your children and those around you to learn the information, because at the time I had a paid financial advisor who didn't share these concepts with me. So let alone, you know, I was already upset. So you know what I had to do to that individual, right? But see, when I started to learn and get the information, I got excited about it and just wanted to share it. And, and it just could have been life-changing because at that age, you know, what can you do? But if we start with our children, right, to teach them so they can learn, they can be informed, you know, so they can make educated decisions. And then sometimes even from retirement age, people still don't know. So we have clients anywhere from 18 to 85, right? And people come, you know, at 60, you know, thinking that they can hit their goals when they want to retire in 5 years and they have done nothing. But fast forward, what can we do? So we have those real conversations and we give them options. And that's what it's all about. See, applied knowledge.
You mentioned something that I think is very important and that we don't talk enough about. And that's educating the children when it comes to this stuff. There's a couple different concepts here. We talk about immediate gratification, which is, you know, the microwave. We don't want to cook anymore. Nobody wants to heat the oven up, right? And then there's this concept of delayed gratification, right? Now, I was reading about a study that was done with some 4-year-old children, and they offered these 4-year-old children a marshmallow, right?
Yeah.
and the ones that took the marshmallow, so I think the example was something like this. They offered this group of 4-year-old children a marshmallow, and some of them took the marshmallow, right? So the story was either take the marshmallow right now or wait 20 minutes and then you can get, was it 2 or 4 marshmallows?
It was multiple, yes.
And so the point was those who a lot of those children couldn't wait, and they had to have that marshmallow right now. Never mind the fact that you were going to double my marshmallows in 20 minutes. But there was an astounding correlation with a 20% increase in IQ from those who practiced delayed gratification, those who waited that 20 minutes and took the marshmallows that was offered to them, the double amount of marshmallows in 20 minutes. They had a 20% higher IQ or 20% higher, SAT scores, right? So I think that to the point that you were just making, there's something to be said about instilling concepts of delayed gratification into our children. We got a question here from Brandon. He said, what are some of the factors that we should consider when determining the type of retirement accounts that we should have?
Brandon, I love Brandon. Well, some of the factors, again, your time horizon. When is it that you want to retire or go into your non-working time period? Okay. Also, is what level you want to retire? Like I said earlier, do you like Bings and Franks, or do you want to live in something that's more palatial, or whatever the case may be? So, again, your time horizon, the type of lifestyle that you want to live. Again, it's not about the money, but it's about the money. If that makes sense, as far as how you retire, because it's not only what you can do for yourself, but what you can do for others. I'm the oldest, my wife's the oldest, my mother's the oldest. You want to be the one that your family can count on when the chips are down and they need something, right? So, but again, index accounts are something that you can think about. And there's different thoughts on this as well, Brandon, depending if you work for a company, because a lot of companies don't have a retirement plan anymore. They said that retirement was, I don't know if you can see my quote, my air quotes here, but the 401k, that was a method that you can retire off of. But if you look at what the 401k is, and if you're not funding it properly, it might not work for you. But if you do have one and they match the funds, they say that might be a little bit better for ones that don't match the funds. So again, I said my mom just popped up there. She worked for the city of Chicago. She has a pension. Okay. So for entrepreneurial, that's something that you need to think about to see, again, what can you put away? What can you put away? And then we can kind of design a plan for you where it might be an insurance-based product. It might be a money market account, or it might be, which might not make a whole bunch of money, but it's better than nothing. So it just really depends on what you have. There are so many doggone different accounts that you can utilize. Again, it's the one that works best for you.
Well, yeah. And actually, just to add to that, you want to learn to protect your money and your investments from any market downfall, right? So I specifically like those types of accounts. And when we talked about paying little to no taxes, right? When we were talking about what you keep. So there are those type of accounts and those type of products that are available to individuals. And again, it does depend on your age, right? What you want your lifestyle to be. Because Vaughn, we have individuals that say, hey, can you design a plan for me where I want to have $50,000 of income coming in a year, right? Can you do that? And so we do, right? And give them those types of options. Or maybe they want to augment what they have currently, right? So Brandon, what I would say is that's a conversation that we should have to see which one of those types of programs will be best utilized for you, right?
How many extra pies you need to make, Brandon, so you can put some more money away,
or how much you want to put away for? But it's a goal. What's the end goal that you will want to achieve? But for me, I wanted to be protected from a market downfall based on the experience that I had, and it's based on my experience, because I'm gonna tell you, I was devastated. And I'm gonna tell you, when you lose 50% of your portfolio, you think you only need 50% to get back. Well, that's not true. You need a whole 100% to get back to where you were, right? So, and there are cases where if I hadn't lost, I didn't have to lose anything, right? So, but those are powerful things. So we talk about what some of the tools are to help people make money, how to keep money, and then how they can grow their assets. And so those are powerful conversations because we really want people to be confident. You know, we want you to be confident so that you can live the life in retirement that you want. Right. Or if something was to happen to the CEO of your family, that you are secure. And what it ends up giving you is a peace of mind during any type of unforeseen circumstance. And that is the name of the game right there. Peace of mind, especially I can say for me as a woman, right? So as a wife, you know, as a mom, you know, if anything was to happen to the CEO of our family, you know, what do? Of course, we'd be sad. Of course, we would, right? But can life go on? And for some individuals, you know, what if the spouse isn't working, right? And the CEO was the primary breadwinner of that household. And he passes, what happens? I mean, think about that, you guys. How many people do you know that has had some type of catastrophic situation happen to their family?
Right.
You know?
Wow.
And how did they come back? Or did they?
Yeah, you know, wow, that's powerful. You know, you just made me think about something else. You guys offer several different strategies, and one of those strategies goes into how to preserve wealth. Talk to me a little bit about what that looks like. We talked about establishing wealth, building it, establishing. How do you what can we do to preserve the wealth that we establish? And forgive me, did you if you touched on that already? But I kind of, you know, just kind of want to see if you can delve into that a little bit deeper.
No, that's actually an excellent. We we can't touch on that enough. Again, we had just recently had this happen to one of my clients again, where you know, they had a home, the parents had a home, and you know, typically, you know, we're gonna gain the biggest probably chunk because of we're gonna get if the parents, hopefully the parents or someone had some type of property or something that, you know, they can pass on. That's what we think about. You know, you think about generational wealth, having property, something that you can pass down to your children's children, or even money, even cash, or some type of an investment vehicle. You know, having the wills and trust in place. Make sure that you have a plan in place so that when that day does come, the money can transfer tax-free. And that's one of the biggest things about life insurance is that, you know, wealthy people look at life insurance as an investment, a family investment, because life insurance proceeds pass to the heirs, no tax. Think about this. You ever got into a car accident, which I just did. If you get paid for a car, they don't give you any taxes for that. You know, you're not charged taxes for that.
Right.
So life insurance is one of the biggest ways of transferring wealth, but just maintaining the wealth is making sure that, like my wife was talking about, she mentioned index funds. There's other products as well where I have an account where I set a floor so that the rate would never go below that particular floor. If it's $1,000, no matter what happens with the interest rates or the stock market, it's never going to go below 1,000. Okay, so there's protected professional money managers that are watching your money for you, so that and they can't predict it, but they can say, okay, based on what's going on. For instance, what's going on in Ukraine right now, that might cause something to drop, you know, the stock market to drop. Or what happened with when COVID first came out, you know, that might have something to where people might need to have some money protected. You know, whether it's you know, one of our betterment accounts where again the money is wrapped so that when that happens, it just gets moved around by professionals that way smarter than me that can make sure that you never lose any money. So I don't know if that makes sense, but it's wealth protection, wealth retention, and wealth. Well, we want the money we want to make it, we want to grow it, and we want to keep it. That makes sense. We want to do those three things. So, and again, we have various ways of making that happen. It's not a one-stop, one fix for all. It really depends on that particular person. but we have them in place that we can show folks how we can help them do that.
Yeah. Something you mentioned about wealth transfer. I think most people don't understand that the one of the greatest ways to maintain wealth, or one of the greatest ways maybe even to produce wealth, is through life insurance policies. That's one of the ways that we transfer wealth from, or the greatest way I think that we transfer wealth from one generation to the next. So talk to me a little bit about beneficiaries. What does that look like? So what are some things, like what is a beneficiary, and what are some things to consider when determining who the beneficiary will be?
Well,
a beneficiary is an individual that if anything was to happen to you, right, who you want your assets to go to. There are beneficiaries for your bank accounts, beneficiaries for your retirement accounts, beneficiaries for insurance, right? So if anything was to happen to you as an individual, where do you want those accounts to go? Now, if you are if you have children and you want your children to be beneficiaries, right, and if they're underage, right, then that presents a different type of, scenario, because you will have a guardian that's going to oversee those funds. But in choosing a beneficiary, and it's up to every individual, it could be anyone that you want it to be, that you want those proceeds to go to upon your termination, upon death, right? Upon you passing, going to the next life, right? So, and people do that differently, it could be a family discussion, and some people have that, especially when they have children and they want to have that conversation. But I tell you, and just so each one on the call knows, make sure within your bank accounts that you have beneficiaries, right? And you have the right one.
Right.
And if you haven't looked in umpty years, this might be a good time to check it out.
And just so I can add a little bit on that end, and we mentioned your jobs, you have different accounts that you might have a beneficiary.
Yeah.
If you have the solution of a marriage, when you don't have your same spouse, I've seen where people forget about that part, and the former spouse got the money, and not the current spouse or the children for that matter. So there's things you have to definitely take a look at to see who are your beneficiaries, and make sure. And then, and I want to bring this up too: special needs.
That's good.
Accounts. If you have children with special needs,
yes,
and you're going to need them to be taken care of after you're going to heaven, be one of God's little angels, as I call it.
There you go.
You're going to need to have those things in place, and there's a method for that to make that happen. So those are all things that we don't think about at the time, because again, we don't want to think about that part. But you do, final needs. I know if we're going to run out of time here, but final needs are something that's very important that you need to think about. I just had a call with a young lady last week, a couple of days ago, regarding that, because she told me she wanted her kids to think about it. I'm like, no, you don't want your kids to think about this stuff. And unfortunately, we've gotten calls at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning from people that have passed, and they don't know what to do. So again, emotions are high, intelligence are low, and you want to talk about this stuff when you can. Like right now, okay, we can have a 2-way conversation. And I share this again. We're going to talk about it with you, or we'll talk about it about you, and it'll be up to the people that are left to make those different decisions for your going to heaven, be one of God's little angels.
Yeah. You got, what I do. I'm the Love Alchemist, right? I'm the relationship guy. And we didn't even touch on that, but I do want to make mention of the fact that you two are a shining example, or I should even say a beacon of what working together looks like, for couples. And I think that sometimes we lose sight of just how, I like to say it this way. People think that successful couples are successful because they do extraordinary things. But working together is not necessarily something extraordinary. It's really something ordinary. but you're doing it better than everybody else. You know what I mean? So I say successful couples aren't successful because we're doing extraordinary things. We do ordinary things better than everybody else. And I think you two, what you guys are doing here and presenting here is a shining example of that. Do me a favor, and as we end, I'll drop this final question. Tell the people how they can reach out to you, how they can connect with you, how they can work with you, how you can be found. Share with them your social media information, how they can follow you, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for that. And I tell you, I know we're going to wrap it up, but I'm so proud of you again. You and Desiree, what you folks have done the last 31 years of your marriage, and the man that you've become. You know, I'm a couple of years older than you, but I see what you've done, and man, I'm just proud. It does my heart good to see that you what you're doing with your wife and with your family. But she is definitely working on me as far as being a better helpmate. I'm hard-headed as well, but and I tell you, financialcrusaders.com. That's my website. We have separate websites, but you can reach us via there, or even on Facebook. Look us up, Ron Johnson and Regina Rose Johnson.
Yes.
On Facebook, you can look us up there. We have all types of stuff. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Yeah, you can hit us that website. You can. Our phone numbers are on there. My phone number's on there. You can hit a button for to set an appointment. And here's the thing: whether you talk to me or anyone else, talk to someone. Okay. If I can employ you to talk to someone before we'll be talking about you with someone else. Okay. Do it now. Do it now, whether it's me or whoever else. Just be like Nike and do it. Okay. Because you have to do it and avoid those things that's so can be so detrimental for your family when you go to heaven and be one of God's little angels. So.
And then for me, for the ladies, if we did nothing else but encourage you to have that conversation with your significant other, with your spouse, because now's the time that we need to know. We need to ask the hard questions. What do you want? Hey, and talk about your financial situation, right? And so maybe you can get on the same page if you're not on the same page, but it starts with having that conversation. And we are good mediators, right? Because we've had to do that just so often. And sometimes, people need a hand up, right? And so that's what we want to do. And it starts, just one family at a time. And so I'll send my information out so you'll have it too. And I just enjoy it, and I enjoy your cast, and the conversations that you have are so interesting. They make you think, right? So we've had some discussions just based on some of the things that you've said. Just
Vaughn
so you know. Vaughn said.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank y'all for joining me, man. I appreciate you both. I love you both. And man, we're gonna definitely have to do it again, because this is an ongoing conversation.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know. Things are always evolving, and so I'm sure we can revisit this, and we'll have even more meat on this bone. We can talk about it some more. So thanks again for joining me. I appreciate y'all, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Love you back.
Love y'all. Have a good night.
All right. Good night.
Have a great one.
Peace, family. Man, good show, man. I really appreciate them being on with us. They share some serious gems, and y'all make sure you reach out to them. Contact them at financialcrusaders.com. They are both a wealth of knowledge and a wonderful resource. And with that, I'll go ahead and end. I love y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. And I don't take that lightly. And for that, I'm eternally thankful. Love y'all tremendously. I appreciate y'all. Peace.